Race number 1 for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship at Knockhill for the SMRC's final fling sees John Kinman, Bruce Mitchell, Alistair Coates, Jimmy Crowe on the front row of the grid. The big shake-up after qualifying, Bapty, the last place on the grid for the defending, reigning, current champion, call them what you want, and these conditions were very, very unfriendly for anything to drive in, especially something with maybe 300-400 brake horsepower, which weighs nothing and was built in the 70s or the 80s. Alistair Bapty, well, struggled in qualifying with a bit of a problem. Then when the race got going, Bapty did make his usual charge through the field. As you would imagine, he was very, very much on it all the way, trying his very best to get back up to the top to win the race, because that's what Alistair likes to do. The onboard footage we saw from him throughout the course of this race was something pretty special, getting past both XR2s very, very early on, and the hunt for John Kinman, Bruce Mitchell and Alistair Coates was very much on from there. For the actual championship though, we've got to say it was Bruce Mitchell, Mario Ferrari and Michael Longstaff who were up for the championship fight. Conditions were pretty tricky, as Alistair Coates showed us there, big sideways out the hairpin. But Bruce Mitchell in his B-class car could take the overall honours. Mario Ferrari in his A-class car was in a class battle and a championship battle with Michael Longstaff. It was going to go down to the wire, and in these conditions anything was possible. The track was so wet, visibility was so hard, difficult for people to do anything. So he went on board with Bruce Mitchell through the hairpin here, the man who's gunning for a championship. You can see Bruce has got very good visibility in his car. A lot of people though were struggling big time throughout the course of the race, Bapty being one of them here. You can see not just spray but the inside of the screen starting to steam up. Possibly because Alistair was having to work so hard from his lowly grid position to get back up to where he thinks and knows he should be. The hairpin was catching quite a few people out today, and not just arms of understeer but arms of opposite lock as well, for all types of cars, all sorts of shapes and sizes. But a Mark 1 Escort is very much going to be a difficult car to try and pilot through these wet conditions. Fastest lap of the race? Well, that did obviously go to Alistair Bapty. A 104.206 was what Bapty managed to post, and he did that on the way through the field. On the 9th lap of the race, he set his fastest lap of the race. John Kinman was the man who was dominating at the front when Bapty was trying to do his recovery drive. John circulated 7.7 seconds further up the road from Bruce Mitchell and Alistair Coates in his Escort Cosworth RS2000. It got to the point where Alistair was having to clear a little hole in the windscreen so he could see exactly where he was going, and when it gets to that point, you know you're in trouble. Coates, well, he was trying to catch Bruce Mitchell. As you can see coming in towards the hairpin, it was never going to be. Bruce Mitchell's little Lotus Europa slithered through the apex of the corner, but the corner exit was so strong he managed to pull away with almost every time through the hairpin. Going back on board with Bruce Mitchell for a little bit of a look there, just a tiny correction on the exit of the corner, nice steady gear change, and Bruce Mitchell was thinking about the championship. He very much had the championship head on, and taking that checker flag which you saw in the distance there, he was a happy man after that race. Kinman was the winner, Bruce Mitchell was second place, Alistair Coates come home in third place, and Alistair Bapty saw out in fourth place from starting last on the grid. Getting a top 5 as well, car number 21 was Jimmy Crowe in his B-Class Ford Escort.
So John, that was a commanding win there. Looked a bit like a handful at the hairpin.
Yeah, it was quite slippy, but the only Class E car out in the points chase. Unfortunately, Alistair had to start from the back, so I really think he would have been standing here speaking to you if he'd managed to lead from the front.
Victory is a victory though.
Slightly hollow, but and in these conditions I'll maybe take it, but I was checking the mirrors expecting him to be there at any second, but maybe in race 2 he'll catch up.
Well, best of luck for race 2.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bruce, good race there for you. It's been a few hours since you were out for qualifying. Are the conditions different?
I wouldn't say so, no, they're still no the best, but there is grip there, but you know, you're just a feather in the throttle kind of thing. Now put it in too quick or you end up going the other way, yeah. So it's tricky, but aim today is just to finish and keep it on the black stuff. So.
Because if you go off that black stuff, it's quite slippy on the curbs.
Oh yes, aye. There's plenty of evidence of people. Aye. So, although you didn't, once you're in the watching what's behind you and watching where you're going, the race finishes fairly quickly. So I enjoyed it. It's better being wet than half and half. Yeah.
Any tactics for race 2?
Just to finish.
Oh, hopefully you'll manage to do that. Best of luck.
Thanks very much, dear.
So William, winner of Class A there, how did you find the conditions out on track?
Very wet. Very wet. First time I've actually raced in the wet with wet tyres on, so with adjustments to suspension and everything else that goes with it, it's different tyre pressures, and it's a bit of a stab in the dark, and it seemed to work.
It seemed to work very well. Your car looks a bit steamed up though. Did you have any visibility issues?
Only towards the kind of last couple of laps. It's only when we slow down, believe it or not, that I actually start to have a visibility issue. So when I'm sitting in the paddock, it's a bit steamy. When I come back in off the slow down lap, basically, it starts to steam up as well. So, but actually when we're flat out, it seems to be fine. So, yeah.
And any plans or tactics for race 2? Are you going to keep the same setup? Are you going to have a little tweak?
Just going to put some fuel in it and go. And that's my plan. As long as I can stay in front of Mario, that's my plan, because he's right behind me and he's next in class. So he's actually winning the class overall, so I'm upsetting his apple cart slightly.
So we're in for an interesting race 2.
Yes, most definitely.
Look forward to seeing that.
Thank you.
So winner of the XR2 class, and you're not the only one that's been out there today.
No, we had 5 cars I think out with us today for the got a wee bit more interest for the Martin Ramsey race later on, so yeah. I think there was 5 of us. I only really saw 1 or 2, but yeah.
And veteran XR2 racer
Peter Cruikshank.
Fear.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's all right.
I saw him in my head. No, it was good to see him back out there fighting with you.
Yeah, I never thought for a minute I'd beat him. I just assumed the best I could do was second place to Peter, but I got him in the last corner of the last lap as he was ran wide a little bit, so I'll take that. I'll go home now, that'll be fine.
Well, best of luck for it.
Thanks very much, Fiona. Thank you.
John Kinmond, Bruce Mitchell, Alistair Coates and Alistair Bapty were the front 2 rows for race number 2 for the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship, and Alistair Bapty's job in this race number 2, would seem a lot easier than race number 1. As we sit in car here looking at the lights, John Kinmond right ahead of us on the left hand side, Alistair Coates, and it's a cracking launch there. As we go down towards Duffus Dip, Bapty's already away on our left hand side like a stabbed rat down towards Duffus Dip, and he gets himself into second place behind John Kinmond, and that is basically the story of the race. John Kinmond and Alistair Bapty, it's actually been the story of the season, hasn't it? These two guys, whenever they're on track, there's one type of battle, and it's a really hot battle, friendly battle as well. But in towards the hairpin here, we can see Bruce Mitchell under all sorts of attack, and I think Bruce could see that coming up the inside, so he's being just a little bit cautious here, to tell you the truth, and I think that's possibly for the best. As we go up the main straight over the crest of the hill, back on board with Alistair Coates in his Ford Escort RS2000, Jimmy Crowe just ahead of us there. These guys, well, Jimmy Crowe knows the inside of a Mark 1 Escort and the outside better than anybody else. Jimmy Crowe having a look at getting past and up the inside if he can. Hold on to your breath. Crowe slithers past Bruce Mitchell. Bruce Mitchell lights up the rear of the Lotus Europa as he left McIntyre's. But ultimately Bruce is thinking about the championship. He needs to beat Mario Ferrari. He needs to beat him, yes, but there are enough people in classes for Bruce Mitchell to get more points. So the way it goes just now, it looks like it will be championship heading to the Lotus Europa of Bruce Mitchell, car number 57. Now look at Bapty. Is he going to give Kinmond a wave? No, not quite. They're friends, but they're not that good friends. Kinmond's on the inside though. He's not going to give Bapty that, is he? No. Bapty and Kinmond fighting it out in these tricky conditions down towards Duffus Dip and making it very awkward for each other, but that's how those guys have fought all year. As they come through the twisty part of the circuit, we always find the big Rover SD1 usually performs very well in the early part of the race, but then tends to fade towards the end of the race. As they come through Clark's, Alistair Coates in his green Escort was catching Bruce Mitchell. Bruce pulled across to the inside and was quite happy for Coatesy to go past him. Well, happy-ish. If Bruce has ever been happy being passed, I don't really think he has. Down to the hairpin though, Bruce Mitchell had bigger fish to fry in this race, and that was the championship for the Scottish Saloons and Sports Car Series. He come through the hairpin, and every time he left the hairpin, he just wanted to see that last lap board. Bapty, however, all he wanted to do was tear lumps at the back of that SD1 Rover. His MG BGT V8, slightly lighter, slightly more nimble, easier to drive, we shall say, in these conditions. And it got good exit from the corner. About there, every lap, the big Rover lit up its tyres, went sideways, and that just allowed Bapty. Look at that, that's corner exit, that traction. Bapty goes straight through into the lead. And then there's a quick check of the mirrors as he went underneath the bridge. We can see in the bottom left of the screen that Kinman's lights were ablaze. And Alistair Coates, well, he wasn't finished with the man in front of him in the other escort, who was understeering his way through the hairpin quite considerably there. Jimmy Crowe almost starting to run out of steering lock as he went through the hairpin there. Up the main straight, Coatesy was wanting a piece of Jimmy Crowe. Jimmy Crowe in the number 21 car, Alistair Coates in the green number 7 car. As Alistair Bapty, cheeky little wave towards the crowd there. In true Bapty style, they come up the main straight. Alistair Bapty had put on a scintillating performance as he went past the checker flag, a little wave to the flag man. Good victory for Bapty there, and it was all down to this. Look at how long that sideways was for Alistair Coates as he left the chicane there, up towards Clark's. Jimmy Crowe dives up the inside, and did he compromise himself on the exit? Slightly. Here comes Alistair Coates, sideways around him, grabs a gear, chuckling all the way past him. A fabulous battle, and Jimmy Crowe inside there, gritting his teeth. Won't be happy with that one, but Jimmy looked like he was just struggling through the hairpin for most of the day. Coatesy, however, had got him on the last lap on the run towards the flag. But ultimately, it was all about the number 57 car, Bruce Mitchell. The little Lotus Europa, the B-class car, takes the championship honours ahead of Mario Ferrari, number 27 in the A-class Alfa Trofeo. Bruce Mitchell with 318 points, 297 for Mario Ferrari, and Michael Longstaff finishes out the championship year in third place with 260 points. Fabulous racing from the Scottish Classic Sports and Saloon Car Championship. We'll see you guys next year.
Bruce, you are our 2019 champion. That's a good feeling, surely.
Well, it's sinking in slowly. I tell you, it was a close run thing because engine temperature was full scale. Last 2 laps, I thought, do I stop? No, I don't know. Keep going. So
I'll take the damage.
aye, we'll accept the damage. So might be a head gasket again. I don't know. But it finished.
Good consistent season.
Has really been aye. I'd one engine rebuild through the middle of it. To be expected, it's all Lotus. So looks like another one.
And have you got any plans for 2020?
Well, no, just more of the same probably. I don't know. There's not a lot you can do with that car now, so just come out and do some more of the same thing and enjoy. You know, it's a good laugh. Eh?
Well, it's been a good season for you, and congratulations once again on being our champion, and we'll see you next year.
Yes, thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Bruce.
Right, thanks for that, Duncan. So that's us for Knockhill FM 87.7. You've been listening to Liam Hodgins, Duncan, Vincent, Michael Cox and myself.